Rudd in the 28. Going to put a little gray into that battle.
Here comes that blue Lowe's 48 too as well, right on the bottom of the racetrack. We got us a 5-car battle for the lead here.
Fox Tracks on teammates Jarrett and Rudd.
See the interval on Rudd to Dale Jarrett, the leader. It's kind of pretty much holding its own right now.
That's funny. Some drivers will talk about their teammate. Other drivers will talk about another driver who races a car out of the same shop. But he's not my teammate. 113 laps complete. Caution is out at lap 115. Debris in the back straightaway. Jeff Gordon could not get back on the lead lap, and the leaders are in the pits. Matt.
And Mike Schreier and the guys are already in the left side of the car. They hit the lugs. No adjustments for Dale Jarrett.
So 14 lead lap cars make their pit stops. Ward Burton, Mark Martin, Kyle Petty, Bill Elliott, Johnny Benson back on the lead lap now.
And we definitely saw some cars change 2 right side tires only because we'd only been about 12 laps. But what we have to remember, probably the reason a lot of them come to pit road, this definitely puts them in the window to make it on one stop. But of our 14 cars on the lead lap, everybody pitted for something except for Kurt Busch, the 97 car.
A little strategy being played out.
Ford driver Jarrett did not let Gordon back to the lead lap, so after the caution car picked up Dale Jarrett, the race leader, this ensued.
You know, that's like, you remember me? I'm still back here because you kept me back here.
But Darrell, you and I agree on one thing. Don't let anybody have a lap back. This is not about giving laps back.
You drive your, you know what, off to get people a lap down, then you slow down, let them back on the lead lap? I don't think so.
There is the debris that was on the back straightaway. It's a beverage bottle, and it was casting quite a gleam from the sun. Observers thought it was a piece of metal, might have been sharp, and they picked it up. Caution is out. Here's today's track fact brought to you by KFC. Michigan International Speedway opened in 1968, and you can see how they've expanded the capacity since. Cale Yarborough won the first Cup race here in June 1969. David Pearson's won 9 times, and among active drivers, Bill Elliott has 7 victories. There's fast food, and then there's KFC. Our leader is Kurt Busch because he did not pit. Let's go to his pit and find out why.
Well, Mikey was talking in the radio about staying out as the 88 did, or coming in when the 88 did, but your man decided to stay out. Why, Jimmy?
Well, we got a problem with our car don't come in for about 10 laps on tires, so we figured we'd just stay out. They're in, and the only thing we got to do is hope we don't get a yellow one. We're in that window.
Green flag is out. Brian Newman is second. Dale Jarrett third. Ricky Rudd, Jimmy Johnson, Michael Waltrip.
When we were in Dover, I saw Jimmy Finnegan in the casino over there, so I know he's a gambler, and that's what they're doing now. They're rolling the dice a little bit.
This is probably a good opportunity for Jeff Gordon to get his lap back because he's on 4 fresh tires. Kurt Busch is up there without fresh tires. Jeff Gordon will go into the second position, fighting to get up there and try to get that lap back.
Yeah, now's when you can have cautions because you got people that are trying to get back on the lead lap. You got people that are racing each other, so there's a lot going on right now. Everybody's on a little bit of different agenda right now.
His car is fast through the middle of the corner on the bottom of the racetrack with those 4 fresh tires.
Down this long and winding front straightaway, Jeff Gordon is going to get back on the lead lap with a little assist there from Ryan Newman.
And Ryan Newman's trying to take the lead of the race right here in the 12th car. Remember, he has 2 right side fresh tires. Dick Burton.
Well, it's an interesting strategy. You know, Ryan Newman's a degreed engineer, and just before he made that pit stop, he came on the radio and described the behavior of his car as just like Las Vegas. Remember what it was like in Las Vegas? And that was the stuff that they needed to make the adjustment on his car. How about that, Mike?
Oh, do you want it?
How about that? Wish I knew what it was like in Las Vegas.
But evidently he said something that made Matt Borland's a light go off in it. It's like, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it must be something that they didn't want to communicate over the radio. So it's whatever we did at Las Vegas, don't forget, let's do it again.
In other words, you're all welcome to listen in, but
Yeah, but we're not going to tell you what we did to the car in Las Vegas.
Well, what I saw right there, Ryan Newman was able to get back to the throttle, but he was on the bottom side coming off turn 2. Kurt Busch was on the high side, and he was able to win the drag race down the backstretch, but Ryan Newman drove it deeper in, just like Dale Jarrett.
That's
3 distinct lines there.
See, that's what happens to you right there. When you go in that corner under somebody, you see how he started wiggling? You lose the front end just a little bit, and then the thing starts wiggling loose with you.
Elliott Sadler in the 21 car, he's a lap down as well. Jeff Gordon's loving what he's seeing back there because he's pulling away from these guys while they run side by side.
And Jimmy Johnson, who Dale Jarrett perhaps errantly let back on the lead lap 2 cautions ago, is now fighting him for second place.
Watch this 12 car. Here's what happens to you. You go into turn 3. You're down underneath the car, and when somebody comes under you like that, buddy, that thing will break loose with you. Take off up the track. You just lose all your grip just momentarily. And if you think about Ryan Newman, what have we seen about 2 or 3 times with that car going in the corner under people, and the back end snaps out from under?
2 weeks ago coming off the corner with Steve Park, and last week going into the corner. Both with disastrous consequences.
It's like Ryan Newman's car works good on the bottom on the exit, but he just can't complete that pass down the next straightaway.
Just can't get up off the corner with enough steam to make it happen. And then again, Larry, you got to be so careful when you get down underneath people like that that the thing doesn't snap loose with you.
And right now, he has the guy behind him, Dale Jarrett's teammate, Ricky Rudd, in that 28 car, Steve Burns.
Well, Larry, back, Ricky Rudd came on pit road 4th and left 4th. They made no adjustment for that 28 car. Ricky did say once he left pit road, he told Michael McSwain, the crew chief, he said I've been backing off the throttle just a little bit just to conserve the motor.
Ricky said earlier this weekend, you might as well laugh about the last couple of weeks because crying isn't going to help. He's done everything but win.
Well, I mean, yeah, what he's talking about, conserving the motor on fresh tires, especially in the draft, you will turn a lot of RPMs. I mean, right now, they're running within about 2 or 3 tenths of their fastest lap of the race. Once the pace slows down, you won't have to worry about those RPMs. We heard Jeff Hammond talk earlier. It says hanging RPMs. They get up there and just stay on these long straightaways.
Yeah, we got all these cars running here close together like this. It creates a whale of a draft down the straightaway. Hey, how about old Russell here? Russell's having a pretty good day.
Rusty Wallace up to 7th, just ahead of Matt Kenseth. In fact, right now, there are 8 Fords in the top 10.
And he's having a typical 2002 Rusty Wallace day. He started back in 25th, worked his way up to the top 10. This is the car he won with here a couple of years ago.
I believe one of the big reasons that Ford's run particularly well here in California and other places is aero balance. They got a good balanced race car. And the other thing is they've been working really hard on their engine package to be able to turn these things 90, 200 and live. That's why we see them break every now and then. But I think they've about got every link in the chain fixed.
The only non-Fords in the top 10 right now are Jimmy Johnson in 4th and Michael Waltrip in 6th.
I mean, Dale Jarrett, he almost went from the top of the racetrack to the bottom on the exit. He was able to complete the pass on Ryan Newman. That's a sign of a good race.
Yeah, if you can carry enough speed through the center of the corner so you can drive up in front of that guy off the corner, then that's a good move.
7th place right here. Matt Kenseth trying to take it away from Rusty.
There's Kenseth right around the bottom. Rusty will let him slide up in front of him. That's a good move. Rusty probably let that happen because it slows them both down if he doesn't. Once a guy gets a position on you, the best thing to do is let him go and draft on him.
Meanwhile, this 24 car, Jeff Gordon, he's out there just hoping we might get another one of those debris cautions.
Right. You see Gordon out front. He is not the race leader. He's on the tail end of the lead lap as Kurt Busch leads Dale Jarrett and Jimmy Johnson.
Welcomes you back to the Sirius Satellite Radio 400, and Kurt Busch trying to become the racing American Idol. Just moments ago, Jimmy Johnson passing Dale Jarrett for second place in each of the manufacturers have led through the course of the days. You got to look at Jeff Gordon, of course, still looking for his first win this year, and the adjustments. There's only one Pontiac, of course, fewer Pontiacs entered here on the lead lap, and that being Johnny Benson. Has that spoiler changed helped much in your opinion?
Well, Johnny's running awful well here right now, so you have to believe that this has been a good racetrack for him, and with the adjustments that NASCAR allowed Pontiac to have, it has probably helped his team a little bit. He got down a lap early, but he's now gotten back on the lead lap, so those are very good things for him. And he's still got a little ways to go yet, so he can still be a factor.
We've got 67 laps to go. We've had 7 leaders, 8 changes, only 2 cautions, and Michael Waltrip, who was a little bit annoyed about talk that he might not be back with the DEI next year, has moved up into 5th now.
Yeah, he's really been running well. That team is starting to come together. Qualified outside pole at Fontana, which is a racetrack very similar to Michigan. This team ran 10th, finished 10th that day. But as of late, at Charlotte, he got an 8th place finish, as well as last week at Pocono finished 8th. So these guys are starting to come together. Michael looks like he's got a very strong race car.
All right, Mike Joy.
Here are fellows who've gained points in the last 7 races, and Michael Waltrip and Dale Jarrett are the biggest examples of that.
They really are. And Larry, I think that's a pretty good indication. I know they called him on the carpet and said, look, bud, you're going to have to pick it up. And I think it's he got the message.
But in his defense, yeah, maybe he did. Maybe he has stepped it up, but they're giving him new race cars. The last 4 races, Charlotte, Dover, and Pocono, new race cars, the best aero package that they could give him.
Yeah, it really is. He told me the car at Charlotte was a brand new car, and he loved it the minute he sat down in it.
On the track, Jeff Gordon is right ahead of our race leader, Kurt Busch, and I'm surprised that they're not stopping, not taking on tires. Busch has been able to hold that lead.
Well, I'm not. This cat has done this 2 or 3 times. You know, California, he won Bristol by staying out on the set of tires. So he and Finney, they say their car's slow coming in, but once it comes in, it's great. Leave the tires on it and drive the wheels off of it.
Good point. Now, how about Jeff Gordon, who is trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap? Let's go to his pit.
Well, Mike, a couple of laps ago, Gordon keyed his radio and asked his spotter to give him more information about the line that Kurt Busch is taking. Gordon's plan, make sure he knows exactly where the best line is that Busch can take so he can block it and stay on that lead lap no matter what.
Well, I don't know, Dick, but Gordon's car's good on new tires. He runs good for about 15 laps. Then he starts to backslide, and I don't think he can hold Kurt Busch up. I believe Kurt will pass him high or low, just whichever. He'll go the opposite way Jeff goes.
Well, also, Darrell and Dick, I think it's going to be hard for them to tell Jeff Gordon because Kurt Busch has been running 2 or 3 different lines. The last couple laps, he's been running the high line, but when he needs to, he can go to the bottom of the racetrack. But he is all the way against the wall at 3 and 4 on this lap.
Well, and that's you know, that's probably a sign of those tires being a little worn. He's got to use up the whole racetrack. Look at Gordon, look how he backs up. I noticed on the restarts, really good on 4 fresh tires, but then as he goes along, you can see there with that graphic, the car gets slower and slower.
But I tell you, a car that's not getting slower and slower, the one going right there, 48, he's catching the leader, Kurt Busch, right now.
Trouble down here, we got blown engine. I don't know if we...
No caution.
Yeah, we got a caution.
This is the break that Jeff Gordon will need now if he can beat Kurt Busch back to the line.
Boy, Busch is trying. He's going to try to put him a lap down. Watch this.
Like you said, Darrell, race the cars that can beat you, and Busch is doing it.
That's one of them. He tried to get a run on him going into 3. He can't make it. He's going to back off now. But he sure didn't want to give it to him.
You guys do not want me to get my lap back. Great job there, guys. Still kick tight. Keep pulling that wind down.
Watch that oil going down in the first turn there, guys.
It was Ward Burton who put out all that smoke down in turn number 1.
And Ward, you know, got back on the lead lap. He was up in 13th spot. I watched him a little bit, and the car really, really fast. This is unfortunate for that team. Can't catch a break either.
Woo. He was definitely having one of his better weekends since winning the Daytona 500. And you know, he had a great weekend at Richmond a month and a half ago and tore transmission up. So mechanical problems are hurting his good weekend.
He was definitely the car to beat at Richmond. So, caution flag freezes the field with now, counting Jeff Gordon, 15 cars on the lead lap. Ward Burton, if he goes to the garage, that'll make it 14.
And he definitely headed to the garage. Now, Darrell, what's going to be interesting, it's been about 20 laps. These guys have been watching Kurt Busch out there with no tires. They watch Ryan Newman with